and opinion. Although the older I get, the better it gets. All right, so we are live now, right?
We are live right now.
All
Ladies
right.
and gentlemen, this is William Rochelle, but you can call me Bill. And this is a one off with UBU Live. It's called Cousin Talk. And what you're going to experience today is hopefully a very engaging conversation between me and my much, much older cousin. Um,
One
and
year.
j- 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 just to give you some backstory, from the age of like 0 until about 12, we were raised like closer to like brothers than cousins. He lived in a different city. I grew up in the beautiful city of Chicago. He grew up in the cornfields of Springfield,
Right.
Illinois.
Yep.
You have
And
something
then
to
I
say?
moved up.
And then he moved to Chicago.
Yeah.
And every weekend I would almost every weekend I would go to Glenview and stay at his house for the weekend, and we would just hang out, and he would shoot BB guns in the back. And then
Yep.
at 12 I moved to Los Angeles, and we basically, yeah, we lost touch, because at 12 years old,
For decades.
yeah, at 12 years old, um, he and I did not grow up with cell phones. It sounds really, really bad, but
Mm.
we didn't. So it wasn't like we had a way of connecting like kids would today. Most kids at 12 get a cell phone, they can call their cousins back and forth.
Yeah.
Um,
It
we
was
just
a lot
totally
different.
lost touch.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally lost touch. Um, so your name is Bill Scott.
Yep.
Um, Bill, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you remember our childhood?
Oh, for sure. So, um, it's funny that we're both named William, but whole separate pattern to get there. But yeah, we were close for since you were born. I mean, I was always around you. So my dad and your mom are first cousins.
Right?
So we are literally close in family. And you're right. When my mom and I moved up to Chicago when I was 12 or 13, we spent a lot of time together. You lived in Avalon Park on the south side, and I'd spend a lot of time there, or you would come up to Glenview because, like, for some reason, my mom chose to raise me up there. But whatever, school system was good. But
Yeah.
the funny thing is, and you grew up Catholic, and I remember going to mass with you and your little brother, and I'm actually Catholic now, and one of the reasons why, besides my kids growing up Catholic, because I'd go to mass with you guys, and I was like, boom, boom, in and out in 45 minutes. I'm like, that's for me,
Right?
as opposed to going to a Baptist church where like you would, it'd be like 2.5 hours, maybe three sometimes. Um, but that's one thing. But yeah, we had so much in common. We would do like silly things from singing to whatever, and just hanging
Do
out,
you
and it was.
remember that?
Yeah, exactly.
When cousin Sharon was playing on the
Yeah.
piano?
Oh, like we made up a song, but I'm an only child, so you are actually really the closest thing I have to our brother. Um, yeah. So it was hard. Like, and the thing is, like, we had that time in between that we didn't talk. Like, that was not in our control. That was our parents had some sort of falling out. But so
Yeah.
it was just kind of weird, like, okay, like here's my brother, and then he's boom gone. So yeah,
Yeah. I didn't know if they had a, well, I do know they had, I do know that they had a falling out. I
yeah,
don't know what it was, I don't know what it was about. My mom doesn't
yeah. It
really
doesn't
talk
matter
about
now,
that
but
stuff.
yeah.
But
But
I,
the
I,
good
I
thing is
felt
they're
more
actually
like,
talking now, which is was good.
well, they both realize that they have to speak now or they don't, because
Yeah,
they're I'll leave that alone.
yeah,
But at a certain point, you have to let go of certain things.
yeah.
Um, it's it's interesting because it's interesting because I remember how close we were, and then the next time I saw you was at Emma's funeral,
Yeah.
and I
Your grandmother.
remember
Yeah.
my grandmother,
Yeah.
and I remember that. I was just going through or just came out of the 2008 recession.
Yeah, which that
So
was tough.
yeah, so I'm a startup guy, people, and I had went to work for a company that, um, man, it was just a phenomenal deal. It
Yeah,
like I really thought that I was going to walk away with like millions and millions of dollars, and then the market crashed. I stayed there from 2007 until 2010, and
yeah,
I got there November of 2007. June of 2008, the market crashed.
yeah.
We were
That
promised
was tough time.
Yeah, we were promised 36 million. We got 18 million. And the infighting at the top was so disappointing because
Yeah,
it was a Christian-based company, and I had I had I had lived a life of excess by that point, and um, had been around the world, and you know had the fun of doing things in countries where no one knows you, dancing on tables and stuff. But yeah, but I was like, well, maybe this is going to be good for me because it's not about the money. Maybe this is going to bring me
yeah,
closer to God. And I recognize that a business is a business, and a business
for
is filled
sure.
with people that are out for their dollar.
Themselves,
Yep.
people looking out for themselves. And actually, if I can make a connection, and I'm not overly religious, but and I guess this is true for most religions, but like one of the things about being like in the Southern Baptist congregation is how many times the hat would go around, right? And like,
Yeah.
yeah, and not that the Catholic Church is better than that, but and maybe that's why I'm like one of those holiday Catholics, like it's like okay, it's a holiday, I'm going to go to mass,
Yeah.
um, that bugs me, like the whole like raising money thing, associated with spiritualism, that connection, and that's why like these modern name pastors with these mega churches just it sickens me. Like it's crazy. But anyway,
I'll 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 tell you a story about that in a second.
yeah,
But just to add on top of that, which what you're saying, um, I'm I'm spiritual. So what I've made a conscious choice to do is have a personal relationship with God. And that personal relationship does not necessarily include a structure
yeah,
or a person, because I've recognized that people will disappoint.
yeah,
So if you're looking to that man on the stage to be your savior, you're looking at the wrong place. So uh, I and with Catholicism, I respect all religions, but the opposite of you, and this is why the show is called UBU, because we can have different views, right?
mhm,
Um, I leave the First Methodist Episcopal Church on fire. Like I feel like that man just spoke to me.
yeah,
Where a lot of times in Catholicism, I feel like it's more ritualistic, like you
mhm,
go through emotion, but I've and maybe it's because I grew up in it. It's different, but I rarely leave with a sense of, man, that message just changed my life.
yeah. I agree.
So there's a little bit of difference there.
Mhm,
Since we're
absolutely.
on religion, since we're on religion, I have a very interesting question that's going to get me canceled. But really, it's just a question
Sure.
um, that I
Let her
heard.
fire.
Yeah, um, I heard, and it made me think about something. So it was either on television or on a YouTube program, but this guy said that the Bible was actually written by the devil. And I was like, what? That's stupid. and he said, "Why in the Bible has God killed everybody, but the devil hasn't killed anyone?" And then I was
Hmm.
like, "Right,
Yeah.
right." So I was like, "Okay." Um, and I'm not going to go any further than that, but it made you like go, huh? Right?
Yeah. Well,
Um,
by the way, do you remember my birthday?
June, yeah, yeah, yeah.
6/6/66. So hey,
But that's supposed to be, but that's supposed to be if you look at spiritual um, podcasts, the 666 is supposed to be the archangel numbers or something like that. I forget.
yeah, yeah,
Google it
yeah.
because it. If you look
Donna, wave.
in this, hey Donna, um, if you look at it from different perspectives, different writings tell you different things.
Yeah,
So my thing about the mega church is I was going to a mega church that shall remain nameless because I don't believe in
yeah.
criticizing anyone. But
Everything we talk about will be nameless.
yes, okay, perfect. Um, but I had donated several $1,000s, like over 10 under 20, right,
Hmm.
in a year. And I was listening to the pastor who had just cheated on his wife, and then he turned to the crowd and said, "If you're gay, then you can't be here."
Yeah,
And you don't
it's
have to be gay.
it's
You,
crazy.
you don't you don't have to be gay, right? To say that I'm not going to allow anyone to hate on my friend,
Yeah,
you know? So I invited my friend here, regardless of my orientation,
yeah,
and the message that they get is that they're not worthy.
yeah. No, it's crazy.
So it and in the teaching of most religions, there's a common denominator, which is love, and he without sin cast the first stone. But
Yeah.
then there's this opposite thing, which spews, um, I don't want to say hate, but
I'm just gonna be
intolerance.
like kind of break it down because I'm a little more blunt than you, and this is
Okay.
your show, so I have like nothing to lose here. So this is my golden rule.
Uh-huh.
I don't care who you love. I don't
Yep.
care who you screw. Just be a
Okay.
good person. Just be a good
Yeah.
person.
Yes.
That's really it.
That's mine too.
Exactly.
Be a good
That's it.
person. I
Yeah.
don't care anything about anything else because
Yeah.
if I'm against gay marriage, then I'm not going to marry a man. Like this is just that simple,
Whatever. Okay.
right?
You do
Right?
you. You do
Yeah,
you.
you do
Exactly.
you, right?
Yeah.
But if you're for it, if you're for it, I'm going to support your choice. You
Exactly.
know,
Yeah.
it's
What
just
doesn't that seem like really reasonable though? Like why is this like a big thing? I don't get it.
there's a lot of things I don't get that we're going to
Yeah.
talk about today, and
Yeah.
we really should invite your dad on because that
No.
would be fun.
No. How much time do you have? I mean, I love my dad, but he's a little opinionated,
I
and
know, but
you know,
his opinions vacillate. Because I remember
Jesus
during the
Christ.
election, I was like, "Who are you for?" I'm
Yeah.
confused because on
Yeah.
this side you're saying um, one thing, and then on this side you're saying, "Well, Kamala shouldn't just expect the black vote,"
We
and
could
then you're saying,
spend an hour talking about my dad. Like we should really avoid this because I'm going to say something stupid. So let's not.
"Okay," but
Yeah.
we don't want you saying anything stupid.
Well,
So,
not about him at least.
okay, you can say
Yeah.
something stupid about me.
Well, no,
So
no. Like I'm sure I'll embarrass myself, but yeah, what it is, what it is.
you haven't yet, but we'll wait. We'll see.
It's early.
We'll see. Yeah,
It's early.
it is
Yeah.
early. Um, so over those 20 years, 30 years, um, we've both gotten married.
Yeah.
Um, I have two kids.
I
I
have
have
two
one
kids.
grandson.
Yep.
Um, we both got divorced.
Yep.
um, I actually just spoke to my ex-wife like 3 minutes before the call,
Okay.
and we managed to be really great at remaining a family.
Yeah, for sure.
So
So important, and that's awesome. And as do I. I actually co-parent with my ex-wife really, really well. Just to make things easier, and it makes things easier for the kids.
yeah,
There's no acrimony. It is what it is. I mean, like,
it
whatever.
didn't work out.
Yeah, it didn't work out, and like whatever hard feelings we had, it's kind of all right. Now it's almost kind of business like. Okay, we got kids. Let's run this like a business.
Yeah, yeah. Stacy, well, I shouldn't say her name out loud without asking her,
All right,
but
dude, come on.
but
You're like breaking your
um,
own rules.
I know, I know, but it's okay. She'll be fine. But we would spend Christmases every Christmas. We would go to
Mhm.
Aunt Joyce's house in Connecticut.
Yep.
What we would do is the four of us would go to Manhattan,
Mhm.
and the girls were young, so we'd go to, Times Square and Rockefeller Center, and you know dinner in Manhattan, and then Christmas Eve morning we would take the train to Connecticut, and then that's where we would spend our Christmas Eve and our Christmas Day, and then the next day we would fly out. So the kids got the beauty of, I would say, the Lowe's on Park Avenue.
Yeah.
Have you been there before? It's on
To
Park.
New York or the Lowe's? No, I've never been to Lowe's, but yeah, I've been to New York.
Yeah. So it was always phenomenal. New York during Christmas with all of their big Christmas designs and holiday ornaments everywhere
Hmm.
is phenomenal. Um, and then Joyce, who was the ritzy aunt,
Yeah, but
her her
she was so nice though.
but beautiful, sophisticated. So everyone out there, my Aunt Joyce was a flight attendant in the '60s.
Yeah.
So if you
What
remember in
airline
the
though? I
'60s,
don't remember what airline that she flew for.
American,
Where?
American.
Nice.
So if you remember in the '60s, a flight attendant had to look like a model, and
Yeah.
then just like Kris Jenner, uh, she met a man in first class, and they got married, and they were married for 40 years, and they had a beautiful home in Connecticut,
Hmm.
rolling hills on like 2 acres of land. um, the house was only, I think, 3,500 square feet, but it seemed big. um, and it was just nestled amongst all the trees. It was like they lived in the forest.
Yeah.
um, and so the kids loved it. Christmas was wonderful. And then as they've grown up, which you haven't experienced yet, we went from talking 3 times a day to now Brooke has a son, and trying to get a hold of
Yeah.
her is like super difficult.
Yeah.
Um,
For sure.
and
I get it.
well, Brooke got married and then she had a son.
Yep. I saw
Um,
the photos. Yep.
yeah, so the just I don't know. I mean, I'm just making sure that people understand the trajectory. She didn't just have a baby; she got married and planned a baby. Um, but what about you and
Uh,
your family
in terms
situation?
of my kids, so yeah. So it's funny. He's talking to his dog now. So my ki- I didn't get married till I was 35. So um, and then I had kids. So my kids were kind of young, respective to my age. So my oldest is 20. She'll be 21 in July, and she is a junior at University of Michigan, but she's actually studying abroad. So this whole semester she's been in Europe. So she's been traveling to every European capital every weekend for months. So it's like her passport is fully stamped.
Nice.
And, and then my youngest is going to be, he's 18 right now. He'll be 19 in September. So he is about to pick where he's going to school. Or I
Where do you
should
think
say
you're going
we
to
are.
choose?
So in a few weeks, I'll have two kids in college. So that's kind of
Where,
cool.
what's his choice? Where is he leaning towards?
He's 99% going to go to Denison University. It's a liberal arts college in Ohio. It's where Jennifer Garner, Steve Carell. It's super small. It's actually
Hmm.
smaller than high school, but it's so cool. And they are actually they're offering him a scholarship and stuff. So he
Good.
wants to be he wants to major in journalism, which he's doing for his school paper. He's also a new media editor, so it's kind of rough, up his alley. But he has a couple
Good.
schools that he's waiting to hear back from. So, but I pretty much can guarantee he's going to go to Denison. So we'll see.
So has he already got accepted to Denison or
Yes,
okay?
yes,
All right.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
So
So that's in the bag. It's just what else, what are the other
it's his
options?
call now. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's his
Good.
call. Yeah.
Good. Um,
Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
what does your daughter want to do?
I think she wants to be a lawyer, but I think she wants to go into financial services as compliance. So she wants to get her law degree, but she wants to work in financial services. Like her mom is in financial
Mhm.
services.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think she goes to law school. I think she's going to work maybe a year or two before she goes to law school. So we'll
Uh-huh.
see. Yeah,
So your ex-wife, what was she like a Wall Street person?
yeah, she
I
worked
could
in finance. Yeah, she worked on a trading desk.
okay.
Yeah,
That's what I never knew.
yeah.
Um, I knew that she was in like I didn't know if she was an investment banker or a trader or
Wealth management.
okay, got it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
How is she feeling about everything right now? Or does she
Uh,
even care?
it is tough. It's tough. You know, it's funny, and I actually joke with Donna. So I've dated bankers over the last few years, and Donna is a banker as well. But um,
So let's clarify, okay? Because a lot of people don't understand certain things. And when I say a lot of people, I mean I'm stupid. So whenever you say I'm dating a banker, I think you're dating a teller from Chase Bank.
no.
So kind of explain what a banker is.
When I say that, I mean I'm dating someone in the banking industry. For example, Kathy was in wealth management. I dated someone that was in, mortgage broking, and Donna is a mortgage broker. So she helps people like finance their homes and stuff. But it's a grind. Like she takes calls like on Saturday at 9 p.m. or whatever. Like it is not a 9 to 5 gig. It's like she
Right.
like works her ass off. So yeah, so you're right. So when I say banking, I mean like in the banking industry.
Okay. Got
Yeah.
it.
So
Got it.
which means that they have to have certain like levels of ongoing education in the industry. Like, they have to pass tests and stuff. So it's not like you can just, oh, I'm in banking. Like it's like like for example, Donna's been in banking for like over 20 years. So
So what is Donna saying about home sales right now under the current administration?
well,
Because they were up under the previous
Donna,
one.
are people trying to close loans out now? Like, what's going on with the industry? It's just people are still buying and people are still overbidding on homes.
Really?
Yep. At least in our
I
market.
heard that I heard that they were about to raise the interest rates to 7%.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure, but yeah.
It's interesting. So I lied. The first time we didn't see each other again was not at my grandmother's funeral. It was I reached out to you because I was going to be in Chicago. We hadn't spoken in maybe 15 years at that point.
Okay.
You had just married Kathy,
Okay.
and you guys had that beautiful townhouse on Michigan Avenue, right
Yeah.
down the
It's
street from
nice.
Tiffany's.
Yep.
And I called you and I said, I'm going to be in Chicago
And I
and
hung
I'm
up.
staying. No, and I'm staying with you. I didn't ask you. I just said I'm staying with you, and you were like, "Oh, okay." And so I remember driving to your house and saying, "I can't come to his house without a gift." So we went to Tiffany's and brought a little Christmas ornament
That's right.
from,
Yeah, yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
Tiffany's
Okay.
and
You're
brought
right.
it to your house. And your snotty ass um, gave me a glass of wine, and you said,
Yeah.
"How's the taste?" And I said, "It tastes great." And you go, and then you tasted and said, "Maybe it has to breathe." And I was like, "What
Well,
a snob!
part,
What
part
a
of that,
snob!"
to be honest, I was in the
Why,
hospitality
why, why,
industry,
why, why are you stuttering?
and I was also a wine buyer. So yeah, I am a wine snob. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I felt like my little Manischewitz drinking self, Colt 45, was just dissed about my taste in
Man,
wine.
you are more bougie than me. Come on, let's be real.
You told me yesterday, not yesterday, a couple of days ago, that I have a tendency to sound arrogant.
You do. You are.
Uh,
Absolutely.
How am I arrogant?
Well, for example, I was ripping on you about your glasses, and you're like, oh, well, they're both Tom Ford. Like, I don't care what the fucking brand is. Give a shit. That's what I'm talking about. You're arrogant.
No, 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 no. No, first of all, you said you didn't tell me I was supposed to wear scuba goggles to the
Yeah,
podcast. And
I
then I
did say
looked at
that. You're
myself
right.
and I'm like, what a
Absolutely.
freaking asshole to tell me that. I can't change. So I picked up another pair and I said, okay, are these better? And you said, no, I hate white glasses. You look like a clown. Take them off. And you probably are dumb enough to wear them in interviews. That's what you said.
I did say that. Yeah.
I, but I'm the arrogant one. Me.
I'm just blunt, but you're the name dropper. Oh, they're Tom Fords. Oh,
You know, you know, but it's funny how we see each other, right?
yeah.
I I remember when I don't know why. First of all, again, he's older than me, so
One
there's
year.
that.
1 year.
You were more sophisticated than me. How's that? Fair?
Like, what do you mean were?
See, this is when the phone gets disconnected. Um, you are more sophisticated than me. I mean,
Yeah.
I grew up on the south side of Chicago. You grew up in Glenview.
Yeah. No, that
You,
doesn't mean
you
anything at all.
no, 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 no. I'm just saying. Um, your life experiences were fancier growing up than mine were. Um, and you were on
Only
you're
because of the setting. Only because of the setting, not like my life. I mean, I have a
yeah,
pretty I have a humble life.
well, you're also an only child, so you got what you wanted. Where my mom had to split things between two kids, and I didn't have
But
any support from a husband,
but but,
so
but by the way, like your mom likes your younger brother better than you. You know that, right?
I do know that.
Yeah. Cool.
I do know that, and
Just,
and
just,
and
just, just making sure.
and you know what's sad about that is that Justin knows it too. And he's like, but I'm the baby. So I'm supposed to be the favorite. But, for some reason, I think she identifies with Phil just a lot better. He's,
Yeah.
he, I think he is, I think he's easier for her to understand.
Yeah. Hey, Bill, I have a quick question as far as like,
Sure.
how this goes. Like, so say for example, I have to go to the bathroom. Can I just go and just leave you like one screen and I just have my silent shot here or what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, cousin talk.
Keeping it real. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. So, while he's away, taking a pee because he's drinking Modelo rather viciously, let's talk about my younger brother, localmenace.com. Localmenace.com is a place where you can go and you can have specialty items made for you. He customizes, he has his own merch line, which are, oh, I should do the banner. He has his own merch line that has t shirts, mugs, hats with specialty designs on them. He has his own special signature brand. He also designs beer cans, or not beer cans, but the outside of a beer for your
What am
specialty
I doing,
beers,
babe?
IPAs,
Okay.
um,
I'm getting a
and
chance to clean it.
he also does album covers and cover art for whatever you need. He's made a career out of being a artist and goes to all of the independent festivals throughout the United States. So if you're ever looking for someone to
Is this Justin
create
you're talking about?
a radical, why are you interrupting my commercial? If you're ever looking for someone to create a radical design for you, go to localmenace.com and tell Justin Rochelle that William sent you. Back to you, Bill.
I feel like skiing now.
Skiing.
Got fucking goggles on.
Oh, okay. So I let everybody know, full transparency, you be you, that you had to take a pee break because you are downing those Modelo's.
You drink
Keep
beer, you
yourself,
gotta pee. That's how it is, you know.
keeping
Especially at our
yourself
age, right?
our age. Look at me.
I'm happy you shaved your Gandalf beard, though. Definitely
What do
better.
you mean?
I saw pictures earlier. It was like fucking Gandalf. You got your like wand in the hat.
Okay. All right. All right. So you're feeling yourself now. You took your little pee, and so now you can
All
come back and insult me.
right,
Yeah,
back
I
to
was talking
business.
about. I
Back to
was talking
business.
about. I was talking about Justin, and while we segue into localmenace.com and talking about Justin, I think it's fantastic, and I hope you do this with your children. I don't know if you got this growing up, but Justin was told, and so was Philip. Philip was told, get a good government job, which they are good now that I'm a little bit older. The benefits that come with a good government job
I
are
have a good government job.
phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but I spent 30 years again flying around the world, so it's kind of like you
It's a
know
give and take. Yeah,
I love my life. You
yeah.
know, well, yes, I love my life. Um, this is not my favorite moment, but
It's
my,
just a,
my
it's a small part of your life. It's gonna be
yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah. It is. But um, so what Justin did was he got a job at Dick's Sporting Goods. He worked there for 10 years, and he was like working his way up to supervisor. And then all of a sudden he was like, I hate this. And he had this gift where his art that he made in Springfield was featured in DC. So they took it all the way from some sculpture he made, all the way from Springfield to DC because he won some art thing. And he was never, um, give me the word,
Compensated?
no, dum dum, encouraged
No.
to follow his dream,
Yeah.
to to go with that. And he figured it out on his own. And once he did, it changed his life.
Can we actually pause for a second?
Yeah,
Earlier in the very beginning of the podcast, we talked about the years we were separate and stuff. Justin, I never knew until a couple of years ago.
yeah,
So Yeah, and that's sad. That's what's like. We don't have the same relationship, or I don't have the same relationship with Justin as I had with you and Phil, because there's this gap that I never knew he existed. So that's
Oh,
one of the real
he's easy to
ramifications.
forget.
Shut up. He'll beat your ass.
Justin's really interesting. Um, we are about 10 years apart because he's about 35. And
10 years
our first,
apart.
our, what? Why does that make you laugh?
You said 10 years apart
Yeah.
because he's
So,
35.
yeah.
So are you
So,
saying
so
you're 45? If that's the case, and I'm a year older, I'm 46, is what you're saying.
there you go, man. Hey, go
I'll
with
take
it.
it.
Shit. I mean, it's,
Don just said I'm 66.
you know, it, I don't feel like our grandparents. Like, I
Oh,
don't, you know, it's weird. I feel like I'm in my mid 30s. That's how I feel from a mental capacity.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, for
My,
sure.
my, my body feels ratchet,
Yeah,
like certain things that I do, I'm like, okay, I need to go sit down.
yeah,
Um,
no, for sure. Yeah, or
but
going to bed
so
early. Like I'm a big fan of going to bed early. I'm good with that.
I my my little phone says it's 9 o'clock. It's time for you to start preparing. And so that means to go back in the room, pull the covers over you, turn on the television, wind down, and then by 9:30, 10 o'clock, I'm out.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely,
Like
I agree.
I'm no longer. And going out,
Yeah,
I I used to go out
clubbing.
until like I used to go out until like 4 a.m. in the morning, right?
Yeah,
Take a disco nap, be at work by 7,
yeah.
get off at 3, go home, take another disco nap, go back out at like midnight and
Well,
do the whole thing
I
over
actually
again.
love that term. I've never heard of the expression disco nap. So please explain.
A disco nap means that you basically you take a quick nap before you go out because you're
So,
tired.
so a siesta.
Yeah, maybe you can call it that if you're fancy and a snob like you. But yeah, disco nap is kind of like I think what most of us would have called it. Um,
I think I've never heard that before in my life. So I think you're the pretentious one. But oh well.
no,
Continue.
but I was a party animal.
Yeah.
I mean, I would go out every night except for I think Wednesday and Thursday. No, Tuesday and Wednesday. So
Yeah.
it would be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Because Sunday in LA would always be some type of like day party, like
Hmm.
pool party somewhere. So you'd be drinking all day long, and then go to work on Monday, and then Monday night there would be like something going on,
Yeah.
and then Tuesday and Wednesday there was usually nothing. It was usually dead. But
I'm just a humble Midwestern guy. I can't relate to that at all.
well, also that was back in the Paris Hilton, Kim Kardashian um, days where you were always seeing them out and people taking pictures. So basically, I was in the same clubs, like just
So do you remember I've frequently called you arrogant and cocky? So it's like statements like that do good.
that's just my life.
Okay.
I'll tell you about what happened in Bangkok, but not on the air. Um, so what were we talking about?
I don't know. You're so mad at me. You're so mad at me right now.
No, because like whatever I say, you're gonna say, "Oh, you're cocky and arrogant,"
Well,
and I'm
no, not at all. But when you sound cocky and arrogant, I'm going to tell you, you sound cocky and arrogant.
No, but okay, so just for the people, I wasn't trying to name drop. I was trying to talk about an era. And
Okay.
during that era,
I name
everyone was
dropped.
going out. I don't think that people go out like that anymore. Like even the young kids, I don't think they're like
Yeah, I'm not sure.
doing
I have no
that,
idea.
you know?
No, no, no.
It,
I think you're right. I think a lot culture now is a lot of just chilling and staying in and doing gummies or whatever. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, but they were out
you're
like
probably right.
every night. And so you would just run into them. Um I remember one time I went to this two things. I remember one time I went to this party. I don't remember what the show was for, but every black uh, superstar was there. And three things. Right, so every black superstar was there. And I wasn't invited. And so I walked up to the guy and I said, I'm on the list. And the guy said, whose list? And I said, Reginald Hudlin. And they said, okay, go in. So Reginald Hudlin, I didn't know this. Someone just told me this. Um, Reginald Hudlin and the Hudlin brothers, Google them, they did a lot of big shows. I don't know the shows that they made, right?
Mhm.
I'm not, I name drop just to get into the, into the, into the event.
Mhm.
And while I was coming in, Eddie Murphy was walking up and talk about arrogant. He said, look at that Mercedes. It reminds me of when I got my first Mercedes. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah,
And Salt and Pepper were there, and it was just like this big thing.
yeah.
The other thing is when I was a teenager, I got into the, and I don't know how I did this, but I got into the rap party for Fame, like their private rap party on MGM Studios, which is now
The
Sony
TV
Studios.
series.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was the
yeah,
best. That was good. Yeah,
yeah. When Janet Jackson was Cleo, um, and everyone was there, and we met a lot of the guests, a lot of the stars. The one I remember most was Howard Hewitt's ex-wife. I think her name was like Mia Peoples or something like that. Um,
Nia
Nia
Peoples.
People,
Yeah,
and the woman, one of the people I was with was Brazilian, and um, Nia spoke to her in Portuguese,
mm,
and she was like, "Oh my God," and so
yeah.
the woman got really excited, and so that was that. Um,
I actually have a Hollywood connection for you. Do you remember? And this is you kind of almost made history happen. Um, we went to a party for your buddy Paul because it was a University of Chicago Lab School party. Do you remember when I met Sally Richardson? It was like almost love at first sight, but we never connected. But it was like one of those big boom. You don't
wait,
remember
wait,
that,
wait,
do you?
wait, 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 wait. So we went to a party at the University of Chicago.
No, no. We went to someone's house, but all those kids went to University of Chicago Lab School,
Okay,
and
so
one
that was
and the,
that
the
that that
girl I met is she's an actress and she's like director and stuff now. But
that was Scott Boyd's house.
oh, Scott Boyd, that's what it was. You're
Yeah,
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he lived down the street from me.
What's he up to?
He's a doctor.
I actually like Scott. Was good. He was a good dude.
Scott was a good guy. Scott was a
Yeah,
good guy. And his family were they were really great. One of the things that was great about living in that area
yeah.
is that all of the people there were black professionals.
I loved
So
your neighborhood. That was a great neighborhood. Yeah,
it
for sure.
was, but you couldn't go. It, it was a great
It
neighborhood.
was a little isolated. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like okay, you got like two swerve blocks this way. Yeah, for sure. And right
yeah.
now, it's the fucking hood. It's so sad. It's
Is
it's a
it?
t- it's a tough neighborhood right now. Yeah, that park
You
that
told
used to be
me
that park that
Avalon
used to be
Park.
so great. is,
Yeah,
yeah, not so great.
you were working around there at one point, right?
I had to do a site visit for a vendor, and so I took a walk. I'm like, oh my God, and I saw your old townhouse and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and like it was just like,
Dilapidated.
no, it was still standing, but like the neighborhood just you could tell, it's like,
It
yeah,
shifted.
it's not the same. Yeah, it shifted exactly.
When I went and I saw the place we grew up, and it's so strange how children see things and then adults see things.
Mm,
I thought that that was just a big, enormous townhouse, and it's about this big.
yeah,
Like it's really small.
but it felt like home
Um,
though. It felt like home.
it yeah, it did. It it had mixed memories.
Yeah,
So
no,
you have your
huh?
memories.
He lived on Avalon Park on the south side, like 80,
Marina,
87th and Stony Island, like right,
Marina,
like
yeah,
biggest 87th and Stony Island.
yeah,
Yeah, yep,
called Marina. Um,
Marinook. Yeah,
yeah, you
and there was a big park in Marinook.
Avalon
Like
Park.
it was huge. His name was Bill or William. Yeah, yeah.
You heard a lot
Hey, how's it
about
doing?
you. How are you?
Have you really?
I get
Because it's
phones out.
Yeah,
oh
yeah, yeah. She asked her about you.
oh
I was like,
really?
MF that, MF this, blah blah blah, big goggle, and stuff like that. Just kidding.
All right. So yeah, I have mixed feelings about that place
Yeah,
because the things that were going on behind those closed doors
yeah.
were tremendous, and I didn't even know certain things. Like my cousin over here told me that him and his mom and my mom had to go pick up my dad from a heroin overdose, and
We actually we did
I don't
that.
know where it was.
We and I remember this because I was a year older, so I was like barely. But we actually used to look for your dad. We had all piled in the car, and your mom had a VW Bug.
Yep,
So yeah, but so I think we took my mom's car because he wouldn't recognize it, and we stalked him. We'd go find your dad. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and your dad's name was William, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so like thus the name. Um, no, like we went over to some tough neighborhoods looking for your dad. And it's so funny that you brought that up because I was thought about that, but I'm like, well, I'm not going to bring that up.
Well,
But yeah,
right now it's honesty, it's transparency. I think
yeah,
understanding understanding what people go through
yeah.
from
And for people to understand, his dad was a Vietnam veteran
yeah.
that came back like a lot of us, a lot of them did, hooked on the shit because he saw a lot of stuff. So it like
So,
wasn't like you know, like he was one of many Vietnam veterans that came back with issues.
fuck up. Yeah, that's very. I appreciate you saying that to everyone.
Yeah,
Um, it does soften the blow a little bit.
yeah.
But as a child, I couldn't forgive it. I couldn't understand it
It was tough. Yeah,
because
it was tough.
it was abusive. It was being 8 years old and having your father pass away, and your first thought is thank God it's over is monumental.
Yeah,
It says a lot about what that period put the family through.
yeah.
And
Yeah, and that was a period I think we were the closest. Like I think
yeah.
we were
So
together.
was I with you guys when you went looking for him, or was it just you and your mom and my
No,
mom?
we were all. It was me, you, and Phil, and our moms.
Okay.
Yeah, but the
And your
thing is,
mom.
but it was kind of dirty because like they would go, they'd send us out to scout. Like, go look there. We're like, okay, we can run fast. It's like,
So wait, we would go out scouting
well,
for
they're
him?
like, go look down that alley and then call us if you see that. Really? So we're in the south side of
It's
Chicago, and like, okay, we're gonna.
today wouldn't have survived what we went through.
Seriously.
It's like, what are you talking about? That's insane. And it had to be some crackhead neighborhood. No disrespect to crackheads, please
Yeah.
don't
Well,
don't come
honestly, like
after
back
me.
then, that was before crack. So, but they were bad neighborhoods. Yeah.
Well, it had to be a heroin neighborhood,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
So it was bad. I think you told me that one day you had to help him into the car or something like that.
Man, it was not what little kids should have been doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So imagine what was happening in the house. You know, it
Yeah.
was it wasn't cool at all.
Yeah. No,
And
it wasn't cool. But you got through it. You handled it really, really well. Um,
did I?
I think so. But it's so funny how like time is flying. Next episode of the Cousins, we got to talk about your fucking brother, your second brother, like the middle child,
Yeah,
Philip.
I remember you
Man,
come. I remember you
you,
came into your house in Glenview, and you were upset because Philip had peed on the side of the road, but in the bushes. And you said he whipped out his and peed right there. Anyone that wanted to stop and look could have seen it. And we were like, who's gonna stop and look? Like he
well,
was like
no,
there
yeah,
were like these he was up on a hill somewhere.
I don't remember that, but I remember one day your brother had to stay home from school or something, and because he was sick, and he was puking in a paper bag and throwing it at us. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this kid? Honestly, he was always. Do you remember the time? This was in Springfield. We all got brand new shoes. Do you remember this? We all got brand new Keds. And Philip, I
Okay.
think Phillips were white, and it had rained. There was puddle, and my mom goes, "Philip, do not go through that puddle." And then what do you do? Right in the
Boom.
puddle.
He was different. Like he had his own thing going on.
Yeah,
Um but he's still very unique,
yeah, yeah.
very unique, but he's grown so much.
He actually texted me 2 days ago, and we had a little back and forth and stuff. So got
Oh,
to go
really?
see him. Yeah, yeah. He
Yeah.
texted me.
He's grown a lot.
No, he's a solid human being, but he was a
He
bad. He was one of the worst fucking kids I ever met in my life.
he
He
really
was a
was.
bad kid.
Like whatever could be done, he would do.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
no fear,
setting
no
fires,
fear. Yeah,
jumping off of bridges. we, I
that
used to
that was a
use him
bad
as
kid.
I used to use them as experiments. Like, all right, so I see all that snow down there, Phil. All right, we're on the third story, so jump into the snow because it's going to be soft, and let's see what happens. And he would freaking do it.
He
But
didn't care.
but on my side, I instigated it. I would
Yeah,
have him do things that I was afraid
you're
to do.
like puppet master.
Yeah, but some of that crap was crazy. But anyway, not Bill Scott, Scott Boyd's party, Scott Boyd's party. What I remember from that day, and I think it was me, I was dancing with somebody, and whoever I was dancing with said, he's cute, but he has way too much cologne on. And I
About
think it was,
you?
yeah, I think it was English leather that I was wearing.
No, it was polo. The green bottle polo is what we rocked back then.
Was it? Because that was the first like house party I'd ever been to.
It was the green bottle polo, the original polo scent, which actually I'm gonna buy some now because the shit was dope. Yeah, that party was great. And then I met that girl who
You
be
just said
and
it.
who became
You,
like this big star or
yeah, you said it twice.
starish. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm the name dropper.
All right. You got that Gandalf thing going.
Right, right. So, but I'm the name dropper. But you keep
You
talking
are.
about Sarah Richardson.
Well, her name was Sally Richardson, but whatever. It's fine.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So um, I wanted to talk about highs and lows of life. Do you have time?
Yeah, for sure. So, because we preach at it. I can actually look to three things in my life, my younger life that affected me, things that I did wrong and things that happened to me. So I used to work in public relations. At this point, I did political, corporate, and agency public relations, and I was working for a big PR agency that was international, and I was really young, and I'm chalking this up to lack of training, but it's really my fault. I had a client, and I got a late call from the Wall Street Journal, and I couldn't find the CEO of the company I was repping at all, and I couldn't find him. I looked. I had to tell this reporter, we'll get back to you, which is a no-no. And I screwed that shit up. Like I should have done more to find this client. It's
Yep.
one of the biggest regrets of my life, to this day. Like I can't believe I let that situation fall through my hands. And ultimately I ended up leaving that agency. Um,
Did you leave because you wanted to leave, or did you leave because they were mad and started pressuring you?
I felt that I had to go because I felt it wasn't a fit, but I think that
Okay.
had something to do with it. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm like a junior associate. Like I'm a youngster. I'm working like 8 p.m. I get a call from Wall Street Journal. Somehow they call me. 'Cause I think my like so back in the day when you actually had to release a press release,
That's
put a contact information, your name, phone number. So that's how they got me. But and it was for one of the original floral e-commerce sites. And so yeah.
so.
Um,
I actually launched one of the original floral e-commerce sites.
so well, I don't care. So this was for FTD.com.
Okay, so I launched teleflora.com.
Yeah,
And so they were in direct competition, and I was their
yeah, yeah.
first web hosting supervisor.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
So I got
So you don't
that's
care.
that's because FTD.com was based in suburban Chicago. They were in
Okay.
Downers Grove. All right. So my agency represented them, and so I got a call from the Wall Street Journal, and I didn't make it happen. And it's to this day, as you can tell, it still bothers me. So that was like number one
What part of it bothers you?
because
You
I
were
didn't come
you were a
through,
junior
and,
agent.
I wasn't savvy enough to make it happen. Because like
Okay.
you and I are survivors. Like we find a way to make shit happen, and
Right.
and I either didn't comprehend the urgency of the matter, or I wasn't sophisticated enough to make it work. Either scenario still bothers me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that
So
comes
so
with
so so,
experience.
so this is why like I tell my kids like you're going to face a decision where right you're going to be presented an opportunity. So that's why the whole like go for it thing, make it happen, go for it, make it happen. You will have no
Yeah.
regrets. Like you don't want to have regrets. You know what I mean? So that was one thing. I don't mean to, like scoot past this. I had a couple other I think life changing events. One of them you know about. This one I don't think you know about. So this is a story I don't think you know. Is I was still doing a PR, but I was doing it for a political campaign. So this was someone that was running for a Cook County state's attorney. So like in LA, it would be a DA, or in New York, it'd be a district attorney. So it's a pretty big job. And this was just in the primary. So like there were other Democratic candidates, but we kind of crushed them. So we were about to face off against a Republican incumbent, or twice elected Republican incumbent. So he's been in office for 8 years. But the candidate I was working for had the backing of the Daily Machine, apparently. So,
The
and
Navy
we had
machine?
the Daily, like the old
Oh,
man,
okay,
like
okay.
yeah, the Daily Machine. So
Got it.
we were doing really well, and we were doing so well, in fact, that the Daily Machine decided to actually come on board. So he had to fire his whole campaign staff, the ones that were with him from the very beginning. So I actually got a call from a reporter to ask me to comment about my own firing that I didn't know about. Yeah.
Mm.
Like it's like played it cool, but like that was a gut wrench.
So
That was
why? So I'm always trying to figure things out, right?
yeah,
So let's get into your head for a second. So why was that a gut wrench if you didn't know about it, if they didn't tell you about it?
because I didn't find out from my own campaign.
Right,
I had a
right.
reporter. I had a reporter tell me that I was fired.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah,
So you were fired.
yeah. It was a reporter from the Chicago Tribune telling me, asking me for a comment about my own firing.
Nice.
Yeah, right.
How did you deal with
Quality.
that?
I played it cool because I thought I would have future jobs down the line, or like so I didn't want to like burn the bridge.
Right.
So I was like, well, we're all very enthusiastic and supportive about Client X's campaign. He will be the next Cook County State's Attorney. Blah blah blah. But I was like, afterward, like, what
What
the
the fuck?
fuck?
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's actually. So you see that as like something that changed your life. I see that as something that proved that you can overcome obstacles
yeah,
because most people would have stumbled. Like,
yeah,
what do you mean I've been fired? And you having the grace and the education and the communication skills
yeah,
to say what you said at a very young age
yeah. No, exactly.
shows it just proves who you are.
Well, but it,
And
it also made me specialize more in PR. Like, so I didn't do political PR at all. Um, After that, I just did corporate and agency stuff. Because I'm like it left a really really bad taste in my mouth. But looking back on it, I'm like, yeah. But my one big regret is that I was owed favors and I never capitalized because I didn't have the balls to ask for it. Like like they always say, like when you're pitching a business, there's at some point you have to ask for the business.
yeah,
So when all that went down, I didn't ask for the business. I didn't capitalize on what they owed me, and that
right.
that was another mistake.
I I I make that mistake all the time. It's interesting because as everyone knows, I'm looking for a job, and
It's available,
if
and
yeah,
for the right job, we'll relocate.
and um, I tried my OnlyFans account, and they blocked me.
I'm shocked by that.
No, but um, we are, despite everything that's occurred, we are a resilient group.
Oh,
You know, resilient, and
I'm a
um,
rubber ball, baby. I'll bounce back some
yeah.
shape or other.
So how do you deal with it right now? This is a personal question. How do you deal with it in the meantime? Because I am in the meantime. Like, I'm looking for a job, but in the meantime, I'm writing a newsletter, I'm doing a podcast,
Yeah,
but I'm still looking for a job. And as
yeah.
I'm always positive. But last week I had a major breakdown and was like, I can't take this.
No, for
And I'm
sure, for
like,
sure.
I mean,
Yeah,
and you're like, why are you calling me?
I didn't say that at all. By the way, that was you that said that. Why are you calling me? Um,
I did
but
several
the thing,
times.
like, our situations are a little bit different. Like I was single, not as established in that career, um, with little responsibility, and now like you have a lot of shit going on. So it's like this comes at a bad time. But um, I regardless of everything that happens to me, I am an optimist, man. I am a half glass full kind of guy. Like I always feel I'll come back. Absolutely, and I think you have, and there's nothing wrong with having that confidence. Or as much as I give you a hard time, you have to have that arrogance. You kind of have to in order to handle
Okay.
things and come back. So you're going to find the right fit. It may be a whole nother industry that sees your value and sees your experience, like, yeah, maybe a little this might work out for me and my organization by hiring you. So
So when you say arrogance, we're gonna table that word for now because we're not going to get into it. But when I'm in interviews or when I'm trying to look for something, I feel as if I have to kind of minimize my past to not make other people feel uncomfortable.
yeah, that's kind of
Because
bullshit. But
I'm
yeah,
willing to take a job as not entry level, but I don't
yeah.
need to be a CEO
Well,
or a COO
you have
anymore.
so
I've
much
done it.
experience that I think your resume is intimidating. And I was looking at your resume. uh, You may have to shorten it a little bit. I'm not sure. Like I've never been
I'm
in the
not sure. I'm
position.
not sure either.
Yeah,
Like literally, I'm not sure.
yeah.
People say things like it's impressive, but then they're not calling me back.
But
So
so like and full disclosure, we talked last week about strategies and stuff. You just need to find the right person that actually has conversations with you on the side. Okay, here's what you're facing. Maybe do this, maybe do that. So this is why we're talking about following up, right? So
yeah,
there's all those people you contacted that we have to follow up on. You just need a champion. One or two champions will get you in the door. You know what I'm saying?
I
Whether it's once they meet you, like, okay, all right, I'm getting this guy a job. I've had that happen. Like, I mean,
yeah.
I made transitions, from, like once you get a champion, you'll
That
make it happen. They'll make it happen for
that
you.
that's why I'm doing the podcast so that people can see my real personality
Yeah,
versus what's on a piece of paper. And then you've screwed it all up by calling me arrogant.
e-commerce, but he does a lot of stuff. Like he's an entrepreneur. So so Donna works for Chase. She's asking me what you do. Um,
Tell her I'll be a call center agent working from home.
he does call centers and stuff like that. But we'll talk later. Sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is he really? Oh, I got a contact for you. We'll talk later.
Yeah, send Donna my resume.
I will.
Yeah.
I will.
Um, and it's weird because I sent my resume to, like, when I sent it to you, I didn't just send it to you. I just went down my contact list
Yeah.
and sent it out and just said, hey, if you know anyone, because I've never tapped, like you just said, about favors, I've never tapped any of my network to
Yeah.
say, hey, help me out. Because it
And,
kind of
and you
feels
you
like
know why?
you're,
Because we're always too proud. Like I didn't
yeah,
do it either because I was too proud. Man,
yeah,
that was dumb. They owed me. I should
yeah,
have connected. I should have
yeah.
collected, right?
I
Yeah.
100% agree.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at my clock right now. I want to be respectful of Donna. All right, so we've been on for an hour. I can go for 4 hours. What are you looking at as far as time? Because it
Uh,
lets me know where I'm going with the next questions.
oh, I'm thinking like maybe 10 more minutes, and then we're gonna do it next week.
Okay, you want to do it next week?
Yeah, if you want me.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's
Yeah.
invite like Carmen or somebody else, like the younger generation.
Yeah,
Um,
Carmen would be great. Actually, have you talked to Carmen?
no, but I don't want to.
Why?
Um, because I like it to be authentic. So when we're doing it, it's kind of like let's talk. So
Well,
remember
no, no. I mean,
when
as far as inviting her to be on your podcast, if you talk to Carmen, is what I'm talking about.
no, you're gonna do it.
All right, I will.
Yeah, you're closer to her, and I thought about when I was thinking about people to invite, I thought about sending her an invite saying, hey, if you want to come on board, just come on board.
Yeah.
So we're gonna wind.
Another suggestion is talking
Mhm.
to my daughter. She would
Bring her,
be, yeah. I mean,
bring her.
she's at University of Michigan. She's about to enter financial. Who knows? Like she's like just stuff going on.
Yeah, what I want to do is I want to create this vibe, and the cousin talk is a whole separate entity from
Uh,
UBU Live, right?
I love the
Um,
concept. The cousin talk is amazing. That's
yeah,
so good.
thank you,
No,
thank you.
I really like it. Yeah,
I'd love to have Chrissy, Kathy, like
yeah,
just different people because our parents were like freedom fighters. They were like they were doing the marches, and then
yeah,
now we need to start marching again.
yeah,
And
for sure.
our generation, and this is what we're going to close out on, and then we'll follow up next week.
All right.
Our generation has gone through the economic downturn. Then we went through the COVID, which
Yeah.
which which is what screwed me up. Well, actually, the economic downturn took most of my cash, and then COVID, I sank all my cash back into the business to try to keep it afloat.
Yeah.
And so, and now we're going through whatever this is, where our
Yeah.
parents were able to work and get their 401ks, and or if they work for the government, get their good government payout and go from there. Um,
Yeah.
do you have any closing remarks for the people? And was this as bad as you thought it was going to be?
No, it actually was great. I mean, I could talk to you more, but I got a life, so I got to do other stuff. But this was awesome. I really enjoyed it, and I hope to be back on.
Okay, so you will be back on. Um, everyone, including Donna, just heard you say that you will be back on next Saturday.
I will be back on. Absolutely. Same
Okay,
time
so
though.
next Saturday,
Yep.
exact same time. We're going to do it.
Yep.
Whatever I do, I try to do it at the same time so people can start looking forward to it. And
Yep.
then what I would love for you to do, because you're closer to the Scott family than I am,
Yep.
and I don't know any of the Rochelle's, like
Yeah.
none. So I'll let you lead that invite.
All right.
Whether it's your daughter, your son, your dad, Chrissy,
Yeah.
Carmen.
For
Uh,
sure. No, no, yeah. Carmen and my kids would be great. Both of them are so smart.
you keep bypassing your dad.
I mean, he will give you plenty of time for sure.
I know, and he has so much to say,
Yeah, he does.
and
Yep.
and 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 I think he can give us perspective about our childhood, but from an adult. So we see what we saw,
Yeah,
but
but,
he knows what was really going on.
uh,
You don't want him to share that?
no, 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 no. I don't think he was as present in our childhood
Okay.
to actually give us. Yeah, to be honest, I'm just being real. Like,
Okay.
so you and I are like black men in our child's lives is a big thing,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
don't think necessarily back then it was. No, I'm just keeping it real.
Which is weird because our the family unit
Yeah,
from Buzz and Emma, they
it
were
skipped a
all
generation.
together. Yeah.
It's skipped a generation.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure. Like Phil is a great dad. Like it skipped a generation.
Yeah.
But
It absolutely did.
yeah,
Maybe it was just a timing. But
yeah.
tell Donna thank you for whatever contact that she's going
Donna
to give
says
me.
he says thank you. Yep.
And your closing remarks were that was that it?
Love you, cousin.
Love you too, man.
All right.
Thank you for joining.
Of
All right.
course, my
Bye.
pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
Me
All right.
too. Bye.
Out. Bye.